The following is an EHC media production. Predictions.
I genuinely believe this might be Jason Jordan's big time to shine. You know, here's a month, kid. Let's see how you do.
I'm trying to tell you, if AJ Styles hits that phenomenal forearm, Kevin Owens will get pinned. Reactions.
And by the way, why does John Cena have to shake the guy's hand every time he loses? And why didn't Roman Reigns turn it down?
They did such a good job of building up Braun Strowman. I believed in him as a monster. And then one F5 took him down. One F5. RWT presents Ring Psychology.
Hello and welcome to a different sounding episode of Ring Psychology. I am not Ime Blackburn Costello. I am Mike Ebeza and I never do the intro. But Ime couldn't be here with us for this episode, for this Clash of Champions review. So I brought along a couple of the guys who offered their predictions along with me for the prediction show. So first of all, let me introduce Daniel Crimmins, who hosts Helena Podcast.
Howdy, gentlemen.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. And we've also got Moses Marquez, who hosts two podcasts, the Major League Show, which is all about New Japan Pro Wrestling, and Smack Talk, which you may have guessed is all about SmackDown. So, hello, Moses.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And unfortunately, we couldn't be joined by Brian, but we'll also discuss his predictions as well, because he hosts When XT and he contributed to the prediction show as well, so we'll get in on his. In fact, he may have got a good deal out of this. He didn't make any predictions, he's not done the review show. Terrible. Okay, so we'll get this one out the way nice and early. The prediction, the pre-show match I should say, we all predicted Mojo. I think everyone on the planet predicted Mojo, and Mojo won, and that was that. Any thoughts on the match itself or anything, guys? Was it better than you thought, worse than you thought?
I thought it was, well, for me, it was what I thought it was going to be. You know, wasn't a bad match, wasn't a great match. I think I posted in the group, you know, I really like what they're doing with Mojo. It's something different, it's fresh. The dude needs some newer ring attire, though.
I'm right there with you, Daniel. Like, if changes ring attire, I mean, I completely agree. The match is exactly that. It was just kind of a match. It was kind of just there. I was hoping for a little bit more of an aggressive side from Mojo, and I didn't get it. So, I mean, his new theme song is terrible, though, too.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I noticed the new theme song, yeah.
I think, honestly, that goes with the guys they've got writing their songs now. They're not as good as Jim Johnston.
Oh, I mean, that's a real debate for another time, I think, to get really deep into. But I quite like the new guys. I mean, they've done Bobby Roode, they've done Shinsuke's, they've done.
I'm not bagging on the new guys. I just don't like this new song.
Oh yeah,
this
new song, yeah. But I think Jim Johnston also did some bad songs. I'm not saying they're all bad, but
true.
You know, he did do Billy Gunn's "I'm an Ass Man" theme. So
the gimmick alone was just terrible.
He also did Rob Conway's "Just Look at Me." I don't know if you guys remember that.
Oh yeah.
Oh wow, Rob Conway.
Everyone's allowed a bad one every so often, but I do agree with both of you that it's not their greatest work, shall we say?
You know, I think, but like we all said, you know, it wasn't a good match. It wasn't necessarily a bad one. It
was just a match.
And I think it's a step in the right direction for Mojo and where they're going with him.
Yeah, I mean, funnily enough, true to my usual form, I like Mojo a hell of a lot more already now that he's turned heel. But the thing is with me, I always feel like, I always like the heels, but it's not to be contrary, it's the book babyfaces really annoyingly, like 9 times out of 10. Like, like babyfaces are really irritating 9 times out of 10. Mojo as a face, really irritating. Another one that I never liked, and you two are going to bag on me for this, I'm sure, when he was face, Sami Zayn. Now he's turned, I love him. I genuinely, and he's doing the same stuff, but because it's meant to be annoying now, it works, so it's great. Whereas in the past, it was meant to be endearing, and I found it annoying. You know what I mean? So, like, now he's doing his job right.
I completely feel with you. Like, Sammy as a face, yeah, in a way, he sucked a lot. but it's not like he sucked as a performer. It's just his gimmick was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, he'd be this guy that can put on great matches, but apparently he could never get over. So then you flip him, you make him angry, and he's probably, I think he's the best gimmick in wrestling right now.
You look at some of the matches he had in NXT. Look at the match he had with Shinsuke in Shinsuke's debut. That was a good match.
Cesaro as well.
Yeah, he had a killer match with Cesaro.
The NXT I think it was no, it wasn't a ladder match, but the match he had with Neville for the NXT title.
Yeah.
He actually won the thing.
I mean, it helps that he was in there with
That
Shinsuke,
was
Neville, and
really
Cesaro,
good
but
one,
it takes two. You know what I mean? There's no way you can say they carried him because Sammy's a great wrestler on his own. In his own regard, I've just never really rated him up until the point where he turned heel. I've never really enjoyed him, because like you say, the gimmick sucks it out of you a bit. But yeah, I mean, going back to this actual match, because, wow, talk about going on tangents early, but that's what we do. Mojo instantly more likeable now that he's not trying to be likeable. It's this weird thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
But yeah.
I mean, the whole, I don't get hype. I mean, how many times can you hear that before you want to hit the guy?
I know the answer to that is once.
You don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I think Corey Graves said it last night. He said, Mojo was the guy who was floundering in NXT, wasn't getting anywhere until he started with Zack Ryder. He kind of piggybacked on Zack Ryder's name, because really that's all Zack Ryder has anymore.
Yeah, yeah.
But, now, I think if they give him a build, I think Mojo could maybe be upper mid card.
Yeah, he could hold the US Championship from time to time, is what we're saying. He could flutter into that if the story suited it, and it wouldn't seem unnatural if he was built the right way.
But here's my problem with this whole push for him all of a sudden. Didn't he just win last year's Andre the Giant Battle Royal?
Yeah.
Isn't this push maybe like 7 months too late?
At the same time, though, everybody that's won that thing, really, they haven't done anything with.
Yeah,
Baron.
it's really frustrating because, Baron Corbin.
Well, that's not true at all. Big Show is the only exception to that because Big Show did what? Nothing. I think he maybe had won the Intercontinental belt during that span at the most. But I mean, you have Baron Corbin, who, I mean, granted, he looks like a person who's squandering opportunities now, but he is a former U.S. champ. And then the other guy was Cesaro, who's now a 2- or 3-time tag champ.
Oh yeah, I think what Daniel's getting at is we saw when they introduced the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal in the first year, they made such a big deal out of it. It was kind of like almost a King of the Ring stature that we were expecting out of it, where it springboarded them into the main event, which it hasn't done to anyone. Yeah, Cesaro hasn't gone on to win the world title that he deserves. Baron Corbin went on to lose his Money in the Bank in ridiculous fashion that made him look stupid. Mojo Rawley went on to do literally nothing, like you said, for 7 months before actually going anywhere. It's one of those where I think when it was introduced, was it WrestleMania 30 and Cesaro was the first winner?
Yeah.
I think at that point, I was personally expecting, okay, we're finally going to see him do something with Cesaro here. He's over as all hell at the moment, because he was, if you remember, around about WrestleMania 30.
He was crazy over.
Yeah, he was crazy over. I was there. He was crazy over. He was one of the loudest pops of the night. He was crazy over. But none of them actually got that springboard. They kind of springboarded and landed on roughly the same level or maybe one little step up from where they already were, which isn't what we expected, I don't think, when they introduced it. Especially when they named it after Andre and stuff. You were like, okay, this is going to make a guy. They're doing this as a new way to make a guy. They're always coming up. They came up with the Royal Rumble decades ago. Then they came up with King of the Ring. Then they came up with Money in the Bank. They're always coming up with ways of making a new guy. Using some sort of specific match to make a new guy or a specific event. And that's what we thought it was going to be, I think, and it's just not made anyone.
Yeah.
I think you were right by saying, it was supposed to be like King of the Ring, but then when they made King of the Ring more of this comedy gimmick where everybody just shows up in a cape and a freaking and a fucking crown and they're supposed to be King Booker or King Sheamus,
Yeah.
Like, they made it a joke.
Oh yeah,
This
I get
was
you. What I was
supposed to
referring
be.
to was I was thinking it was like Bret Hart, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, King of the Ring era, where they actually did become a big star after it. Yeah, you know, not the latter day one with William Regal and Wade
No,
Barrett.
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's what the Andre should have been. It should have been a replacement. Like, you made this into a stupid gimmick. Bring back the notoriety that is winning a tournament.
Yeah.
And, go forward with it.
Well, and
Yeah.
guys, look at when Corbin won it. Yeah, that was the way they brought him up to the main roster, and he after that he really he didn't really do it until over a year later. Won the Money in the Bank,
Yeah.
lost it, and I mean whether that was the supposed backstage attitude or not, who knows? But I wish that when somebody wins it, it would be the start to a build of something. Whereas Mojo, he's only started to get his push almost a year later.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
Exactly.
exactly.
It's like been half a year. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's a good 10 minutes on the pre-show. Wow, we've covered everything already.
That's
Wow.
definitely longer than the match was. That's for sure.
Yeah, it's definitely longer than the match. Yeah, we've given them the time. We've given them the rub. So on to the main show. They kicked things off, if I remember rightly. Was it the tag? No, it was the US title match was first, wasn't it?
U.S. title
Yeah,
match.
because I've got them written down in the order that they were on the website, not in the order they were on the card, so I'm going to have to remember the order. Shout out to Daniel for this one, for predicting Ziggler winning. I mean, you should have put a bet on. Do you know it was something obscene, the betting odds the night before? It was something obscene on Ziggler winning. It was like really unlikely, so you should have put a bet on, my man. You would be a rich man right now if you'd have put $100 on it.
Yeah, big time.
The reason I thought that, and here was my logic. I thought, okay, Rude and Corbin, that works. I just thought Ziggler was it was too random for it to be, just hey, we're just gonna put him in the match and here you go.
Do you know what? With hindsight, I can fully see that because the number of times they will. Was it when Bayley got injured and they chucked Sasha into the women's title match, and it was like, well, there's no way Sasha's winning. She wasn't even meant to be in the match, and she did just because they wanted to do something random to make it interesting. Just chucking someone in randomly is usually a sign they're doing something. If anything, it's So with hindsight, you were very good to see that ahead of time. I fully agree now that your logic is flawless, but. Me and Moses, we both picked Corbin, and he wasn't happy. Neither was I, because I didn't get the point. Fun fact, I listened to the podcast, the predictions bit, this part of it, a few times through his bit. I don't think Brian actually predicted this match. If he did, I missed it every single time. He talked about the match, but I don't think he picked a winner, so I can't give him a point for this one.
I will say the ending spot with the end of days / zigzag, I thought that was a beautiful spot. Like, the way it was executed, it was perfect.
Yeah, the match itself, I don't think was all that bad. It wasn't the best match on the card. It wasn't the best match of the year. But I enjoyed it. It was decent, I thought.
I mean, it was, like I said, I liked the finishing move at the end too, but I still just, other than just the idea of we don't want Dolph Ziggler to leave next year, I don't see a reason he should be the U.S. champ.
Dude, last year he re-signed and got an IC title run. He beat The Miz. This year he's obviously just re-signed his contract and got a US title run. It's like an annual tradition.
That's what I'm guessing.
And it seems like he's kind of stepping up. I mean, like, what's he gonna think next time? Gee, maybe I'll threaten to quit and get a world title.
Yeah.
Jeez, why didn't he do it the first time?
He'll squash Lesnar for the Universal title next time. That's how it's gonna go.
Oh God.
Guys, we all know who's going to do that, and it ain't Ziggler.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to make a point about something there, and I can't remember what it was. Bobby Roode, right? Everyone, myself included, disagrees with the decision, I feel, to turn Bobby Roode face and make him smile a lot because of his theme music being over. But that's apparently why the decision was made to debut him as a face. But
he is a face. He absolutely needs to be a heel. He 100% needs to be a heel.
But I think the thing is, most people think that. But let me just make this point, which is when he was stood in the middle of the ring and he did his glorious thing, oh my God, people are buying into it. It was loud. The crowd shouting "Glorious" along with him. They were into Bobby Roode. Like, as much as we may sit here and go, "Wait, he's never going to work as a face. He's a natural heel. He should be a heel." Then you listen to that and you think, okay, you know what? Vince McMahon strikes again. We're wrong. That's why we're not running the company, because he's so over right now. It's crazy.
Well, guys, I think, if you think about it, looking at Bobby Roode, it's kind of like a Shawn Michaels kind of gimmick, where you look at Michaels' gimmick, the kind of cocky, flamboyant attitude. He should have been a heel. Should never have been cheered. But he was. Rude, natural heel, but he's getting cheered, because of his in-ring work. I've been a fan of his since TNA. Yeah, I had a period when I actually watched that stuff, but...
Yeah.
Hey, man, we all make mistakes.
Hey, no, TNA back in the day was actually pretty good. Like, it was pretty good programming when it was your AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, James Storm. Oh, it was good.
Told, I did start getting into it around the rise of EY.
Yeah, and then Hogan rocked up, and you were like, okay. I'm going to stop watching now because he's about 20 years late for me to be interested in this. So, yeah. It was like... But yeah, so, yeah, I agree. Rude, I've always been a big fan. Go on, carry on what you were saying, sorry, Daniel.
He's a natural... he's a natural heel. He's a great heel. I mean, look at his run in NXT. But also, if you think about it, some of the most natural heels got over his faces. Look at Edge.
Yeah.
That's very true.
Let's be honest, look at Austin. True. Austin never really turned face. Like, he was always a heel for his entire career. He just walked up to people and just started leathering them for not a lot of reason, and was really aggressive. Barely like ever spent any time acknowledging the fans. Yeah, he did his taunt in the corner, but that was just his entrance. He wasn't doing it for the fans. He threw the belt around. He was a heel, but everyone loved him. People love heels, and pretty much always have. It's only just recently that, like, it started to become a thing where the casual fans latch onto it as well, and the whole arena ends up cheering the guy who's cheating, basically,
Well, what can I say? WWE can build heels, but obviously can't make faces.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's hard. There's so many ex-wrestlers and current wrestlers, and it's hard to be a face. You do one little thing that the fans don't like, and that's it. They're booing you out the building, and it's hard to get them back. Whereas if you're a heel, great, do one little thing wrong, really annoy them, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's part of the gimmick.
Whether you're cheered or booed, you win as a heel. Like, that's the thing, is both are good reactions in effect, because a cheer just means we appreciate your work, which is still a good reaction. So, but yeah, overall, decent match. Obviously, Ziggler won. I don't even know where they're going to go with this going forward. My thinking was Ziggler was there to take the pin to sort of keep the Corbin-Roode feud going over the belt, saying whoever walked out with the title, the other one can just be like, yeah, but you didn't pin me. You didn't beat me, and just carry that on. But that's why I assumed he'd been inserted into the feud. But now he's got the belt, so what happens next?
I think what they're going to do, I've heard rumors that Corbin is expected to go into the world title picture. So I think they did this as a way to kind of get the title off of him. So I think probably what I think they're going to do is they're going to continue the Rude Ziggler storyline, because their match was pretty good. I think it was...
The 2 out of 3 falls on SmackDown.
Yeah.
That was good,
good.
Yeah, except for the fact that the second fall was in the middle of a commercial break.
Well, yeah, but their bit of the match was good. the bit that they were responsible for, the Rude and Ziggler were responsible for, was good. The production, maybe not so much, but yeah, the actual match seemed quite good, most of it.
No, it's definitely their best match. I mean, they had 3. The first match felt lackluster. Like, we all felt like there was going to be more, because Ziggler is a great worker, whether we like him or we don't. And Rude is a better worker than a lot of people give him credit for. Yeah. So we expected a really good match, and we got mediocrity.
Yeah.
Second match happened. I do blame Corbin too. So, their match on SmackDown was really good. I don't know if I want to see him keep feuding.
No.
I'd like to see, if they're going to bring a third guy in again to replace Corbin, if Corbin does go to the main title picture, then I think that would be better off. Keep a third guy in this buffer. Keep us guessing. If you keep down the Rude and Ziggler thing, we're going to get bored of both of them pretty quick.
The thing the thing is about if the rumours are true and Corbin goes up to the main event picture, if he does it pretty much instantly, I'm gonna have a little bit of a problem with that because he was kicking off royally about the fact that he lost his title. He was not happy. So to then just be like, oh, but you, and then they go, oh, you can have your WWE title shot, and he goes, oh, who cares about that old one then? It kind of devalues the US title massively. Well, everyone knows it's below the WWE title, but you don't need to make someone cast it aside for the WWE title. You know, that just devalues one belt. It doesn't raise the value of the other, and that's what would effectively be happening.
I got an idea for that.
Yeah.
And I think what you do, honestly, since supposedly the gender experiment is done, put the U.S. title on Jinder. You know, I think he's more of a U.S. champion anyway.
I mean, he's stereotypical foreign heel who goes on about his own country and his own culture all the time, you know, to get Americans to boo him. That's foreign heel 101 since God knows when, the Iron Sheik or something. Yeah. You know, like, so U.S. title is made for the foreign heel because they're holding our belt. You know, that's how American fans in the arena see it. Is like, get off our belt. It's really easy to draw that ire when you're holding a belt with the stars and stripes on it. You know, it's really easy. It's really easy.
That U.S. title belt, that belt needs a redesign so badly.
I quite like it.
Seriously.
Yeah,
it's been around for so long though. I know.
I just really
17 years.
I just really quite like it. Like, you know, the leaked.
Wait, hold. Did you just say 17 years?
Wait, 7? No, I forget. It was actually no. It's 13. It was 13.
Right, but
it was 13.
On the flip side,
here's that belt was changed.
Here's my counter argument. To that. Did you see the rumored leak of the new title that was basically the Intercontinental title shape, but
that actually was the Photoshop.
Yeah, I know, but like I say,
I don't care. That belt looked amazing.
Yeah,
it did.
But at the same time, a lot of people were complaining about how the fact that they just keep insisting on having identical belts. You know, like the tag titles are the same, the women's titles are the same, the world titles are the same. The US title is the only, and the Intercontinental title at the moment are the only unique belts. Like, you know, everything else is just a reskinned version of the opposite one, and they're the only unique belts left. I'm not saying don't change the US title, because, like you say, change has to happen, but I'm just saying I quite like the title. Like, I don't have anything against that belt at the moment. Like, I really quite like the design. I think it just screams what it's meant to be. It's the US title, so here's stars and stripes across the front of it. That's basically the entire belt.
And hey, I love it. At least it doesn't spin.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and the thing is, being a Brit, I can say confidently that's something that Americans can pull off that Brits can't. If the UK title was a massive Union Jack on a belt, it'd look rubbish.
It would.
But when you put a massive American flag on a title, it works because you guys aren't afraid to, like, you know, have your flags fly in, you know, and stuff like that. You know, just like I've been a couple of times, and there's flags everywhere. There's US flags everywhere in America. Do you know what I mean? Whereas over here, people are afraid of offending, you know, people that aren't from here that now live here by flying the flag. So we're all a bit shy about this patriotism. Everyone's a little bit patriotic, but you're quiet about it. There's none of that in America. So the US title works in America, whereas the UK title can't just be emblazoned with a Union Jack because it'd look ridiculous.
I don't know if you guys watched much WCW back in the day.
Yeah, I started on WCW.
But their United States title, in my opinion, was gorgeous. It
was the best looking title on that show.
It was nice, but it would not work now.
Well, I mean, not that exact design, but something similar.
How would it not work now?
Because it's all about the attention-grabbing, bright title belts.
But no. But tell me how that belt would not work now.
Because it doesn't fit in.
Look at the Ring of Honor belt that they just premiered.
Yeah, but that's Ring of Honor. We're talking about WWE. It's a different target market. It's a completely different target market.
And I get that, but it's like, that's the thing. They, like, stop with these fucking belts that all look the same, okay? New Japan does it too. And it fucking pisses me off.
Yeah, but the only thing I'm saying is I'm not saying I don't like the belt. I'm looking at like it as a broader picture. They're trying to sell replicas of these belts to kids, and that belt does not appeal. Like, that belt does not stand out when you're scrolling through WWEshop.com with your kid. They're not going to go, I want that one for Christmas.
You do make a point.
The current one does. The Universal title, to an extent, does, because it's like, oh, wow, my favourite colour's red, I'll have that one. You know, if that's what the kid thinks, if the kid loves red, they're having the Universal title. You know, it's one of those where it's like, it's got to stand out, and the old WCW US title, as nice a belt as it was, isn't a 2017 WWE belt. It's just, it's not.
No, you're right.
It's a nice belt, but it's not a current belt, unfortunately. It's not one that it's not the new design. If they do a new design, it won't be anything like it.
Look at me.
Yeah, it's just it just doesn't suit the current image, and probably the image will never come back round to that, unfortunately. When they did that old school belt shoot with Paige and Finn Balor and a few others holding the old school belts, did you notice how beige that shoot was? All the belts were just gold and black. There was no colour. There was no colour. It was completely different. Like, it was a different time.
But they looked so good.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying
my
it was a
Lord.
different time, and now we're not going to see those kind of belts anymore.
Ugh.
I mean,
I miss the simplicity. I'm sorry. I miss the simplicity.
Yeah, probably one of my favourite belts is the big gold belt, because that's simple. It's just a big round lump of gold that says, "Look, I'm worth holding this." Do you know what I mean? It's a massive medal, in effect. It's a massive medal, isn't it?
Yeah.
It really is, though.
Las Vegas Belt Buckle Company.
Yeah, it's just great, you know. It's just a massive medal that says you're the best. Here's your gold medal, but it's just a huge one you wear around your waist. I think it's great.
There's a guy, a private collector, actually owns that belt, the original big gold. And WWE has
the NWA World Championship.
Yep, and WWE has tried to buy it from him, and they've offered him. The last number I'd heard was 6 figures.
Wow.
They want.
And also, I believe Scott Steiner still owns one that he was meant to have given back when he had his world title run.
That was the one.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Did he sell it to the collector?
Yep.
Oh, that's what ended up. I remember Scott Steiner.
Scott Steiner move.
Yeah, he ended up with one he wasn't meant to have. I remember that story. Yeah, he ended up with a world title.
Steiner did whatever he wanted.
Yeah. Oh man, we need to do a separate podcast.
Are you really going to say no to Scott Steiner?
Scott Steiner. We need to do a separate podcast on Scott Steiner because, oh my god, what an entertaining man. Anyway. Anyway, match number 2. So yeah, bonus point to Daniel. So we're me, Moses and Brian are all on 1 because we got the pre-show right, as did everyone on the planet. But Daniel's on 2 at the moment because he got Ziggler. So kudos for that one. Tag titles match, was that next?
Yes.
That one's a sore subject for me.
Okay. Well, before we go on to that, it really shouldn't be because you got it right and you were the only one. Well, Brian got it right as well, but you're the only one in this call right now that got it right. I went with Aiden English and Rusev just because I thought, do you know what? They're picking up steam so fast, they might just make a quick decision. Like, you know what? These guys are over. Let's put the belts on them and go with them. And Moses, you went with Benjamin and Gable to win. What was your thinking with that before we get into why Daniel was right?
My whole thing was, look at the hype train they were on. They were putting on good matches. Sheldon was getting a win. Chad was putting on a great show. I felt like they were winning most of the promos. I don't know. I was riding the hype train. I guess that is Shelton Benjamin.
Yeah.
So,
can we just say how good is Chad Gable? How good and how strong is he considering he doesn't look all that? He was just picking guys up and very slowly arching backwards and German suplexing them and just controlling it completely. And it was just, it was a thing of beauty.
I mean, you're right. He's a smaller dude, especially compared to guys like Rusev and Big E, and he was suplexing him like nothing.
Yeah. Anyway, so Daniel, tell us how you knew the Usos were going to retain.
I mean,
because of the Usos
hot this year.
I mean, honestly,
a lot of people like to say the New Day's the best thing right now. Honestly, no. I think the Usos, they're Hall of Fame. They're future Hall of Fame, Gary.
Agreed, yeah. And the Usos are currently the best tag team in WWE, I would say. Although Aiden English and Rusev, if they carry on this kind of tear, could be in danger of usurping them. Not in terms of match quality. I don't think they can put on tag matches quite like the Usos can. But in terms of just general entertainment value, they're getting there. Like, they're getting so close.
I would love to see Usos versus the Young Bucks. I'd love to see that.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
I think that would be a super kick party.
I imagine there would have to be a
Terrible
spot where somehow all four of them all super kick each other at the same point. That would have to happen. So they all just fall on their backs kind of thing, and that's like, oh. Everyone just got kicked in the face at the same time. I don't know how you'd choreograph it, but they'd find a way. The Young Bucks are innovative, so are the Usos. They'd find a way. But yeah, I mean, it's the right call keeping the titles on the Usos. I didn't pick English and Rusev because I thought they were the right guys to be holding the tag titles. I picked them because the hype behind them was building fast, and I thought if they've caught wind of how over they're getting, how quick, they may well just put the titles on them. But the right decision really was to keep the titles on the Usos, I would say.
Here's my prop.
They're the most credible champions, tag team champions out of the four, I would say, at the moment.
When Big E was in the Accolade, he was tapping out.
Oh, yeah, he was. He tapped his leg, and then kind of everyone looked awkwardly around like he wasn't meant to do that.
And it wasn't him. It's Chad Gable. When he was in the Accolade, he was tapping out too. He was doing the same thing.
Oh, I didn't spot that. I didn't see that one. I just saw the Big E one. But everyone in our group was going mad, weren't they? Did you see the number of posts and the number of comments on the post? Like, yeah, he was tapping, yeah. I was as well. Everyone was just like...
You had to look at his right hand. I mean, it was one of those, like, slow, maniacal taps, like, oh, I'm dying out here right here. But he was tapping.
Yeah. The referee was staring at his right hand. He was on the right-hand side as well. It's not even like it was on the ref's blind side. The referee was there, so there's no reason why he didn't call the bell, except he knew that wasn't the ending. He knew,
unless
it sort of put the wall down. Yeah.
Unless that's supposed to lead to something.
Yeah, I mean, if they address that on Tuesday and it doesn't feel like they've panicked and thrown it together, if it comes out on Tuesday with a plan and it feels like it was already planned out before the pay-per-view match, I'll be okay with it. But at this stage, at this point, no.
No. So no, you brought up an interesting situation. If it is planned, what do we think is going to go down?
I mean, I don't know how you explain the referee not calling that. That's the big problem.
I'm not talking about the referee. I'm talking about the subtle thing that everybody was tapping to Rusev.
No, yeah, I understand that. But what I'm saying is, if you're going to address the fact that it happened, you have to address the fact that the referee didn't call it. And explain that side of it as well, and that's the hardest bit of this entire puzzle. I think how does the referee stare at Big E's unless you're starting a feud between the referee and Rusev because he screwed him twice? Like that's the only logical thing.
You could say that with all the chaos going on, he was focusing on everything else. He wasn't paying attention.
No, he was looking straight at him. I know what you're trying to say, but the referee was staring. He was in a submission. He was a legal man in a submission. He was staring at him.
But now, I think they could use this as an excuse to do a one-on-one Usos versus Aiden English and Rusev.
I'm all for that. I am so for that. Because the Usos are... Both teams are so over, even though they're technically heel teams, that they're both kind of tweeners. So it works. It's not heel v heel. It's almost like it depends on how the crowd feels on the day as to who's going to be what. It's very much up in the air.
Let's be honest right now. Rusev and Aiden English... As they're labeled heels, they're as face as can be.
Oh yeah, well, that's the same with most of the SmackDown roster. When you look down the heel side of the roster, when you look at not everyone, but you've got English and Rusev, Owens and Zayn. You've got the Usos. There's a lot of really over heels at the moment on SmackDown. There's a lot that are so popular with the fans that you can't even really call them heels. Because they don't get booed. Ever. That's the thing. It's not like it's inconsistent. They just get cheered constantly. They get cheered very consistently.
And you guys hear the reaction that Rusev got when he entered?
Yeah. Oh, man. He's over. He's big time over.
Loves him. I mean, he got a shirt. I mean, the first shirt he had when he first debuted was a simple metal. That was all it. But, this whole Rusev Day thing, that has really caught on.
Yeah, I mean, I want that shirt. I've not bought myself one yet, but I want that shirt. And I don't really buy that many wrestling shirts anymore. I've got quite a collection, but I probably don't have very many that are from, like the last couple of years because I just stopped buying them because I have plenty, you know, kind of thing. But I really want a Rusev Day
I've been a
shirt.
Rusev fan for years, you know.
Yeah, I was into him when he first came up and he was like, you know, going on a tear and stuff. Like, I didn't know a lot. I wasn't really watching NXT when he was down there, you know. But when he came up, I was instantly like, yeah, this guy's great. Like, I could watch him just jump around and bounce jobbers around all day. You know, it was just really entertaining to watch. It was just like, yeah, I like this guy.
He worked, you know. And the sad thing is, like, it's taken this long for other fans to catch on and be like, you know, this guy's actually got some talent.
It's taken him doing a bit of comedy. That's what tends to get people over. You know, it's just like, oh, he's funny as well. Okay, now I like him. And it's like, you do realise he's been great for ages. You know? Yeah, but what can you say? At least they're at the party. They might be late to it, but at least they're there now. You know, that's what matters. Is he's over now. What was the next match? Was it the women's title? Did they do 3 back-to-back title matches? They did, didn't they?
They did.
Yeah. Okay. So it was Charlotte and Natalya with a mighty, count them, 7 lumberjacks at ringside, which just looked pathetic. It was just like when you see a men's lumberjack match on Raw or whatever. You can't move outside the ring because it's full of people. It's full.
Yeah, at least 20 guys.
And on this match there was 7, and I was just like, this looks rubbish. It looks like it doesn't look like if you went out the ring on any one side you would be overwhelmed. That's the point of a lumberjack match. You're supposed to be overwhelmed when you leave the ring, and there's just too many people jumping on you, so you don't want to leave the ring. Whereas I'd be like, you know what, Natalya's pretty tough. If I'm Charlotte, I might jump out the side of the ring with Carmella on and Lana and give them a dig because I fancy my chances against them more than I do against Natalya. You know, like that's sort of the flaw with it.
Yeah, and as we saw, it felt like it was nothing but a bunch of heels and Charlotte being the only face in this whole thing. It's like every time Charlotte was on the outside, she got mugged.
Yeah.
Natalya hit the outside, nobody touched her.
Yeah, I mean that was the story, I guess, a little bit, but because Natalya had been kissing up to everyone, hadn't she, on SmackDown? You know,
yes, she has.
But I'm just gonna quickly go through the predictions because no one thought Natalya was gonna win, which you know, for obvious reasons, because she was never going to win. I picked Charlotte. I didn't even, you know what? I didn't even think of the possibility of a cash-in. I didn't think about a cash-in and then think, nah. I just kind of forgot Carmella existed. But they started when I think someone posted in the group about a cash-in, and I was like, no, they've been talking about the possibility of a cash-in. That means it's not happening. They always try and catch you by surprise, so when they're talking about a cash-in, it's not happening. So as soon as the match started, I knew it wasn't happening. But obviously we made the predictions before then. But Moses, you agreed with me. You just went with straight Charlotte. Daniel, you went with Charlotte to win, but then Carmella to cash in. And Brian went with Carmella to cash in, but I don't know if he actually picked who on. I can't remember him doing. I just remember him saying he thought Carmella was leaving with the title. So I think it was logical not to have the cash in, and the reason is because of the Lumberjacks, like, especially because of who the Lumberjacks were. Like Ruby Riott and her crew are just there to cause trouble. So to me, what better way to cause trouble than to cost someone money in the bank? You know,
Exactly.
like that's an easy shout. You know, if I was being a trouble causer on SmackDown and someone went to cash in, I'd be like, well, can I go out there and stop them? You know, like, I'd be like, doesn't that make sense? Doesn't that make storyline sense for me to stop them? You know, so
Well, yeah, I mean, because you're trying to be champ, you're not trying to let somebody else be champ. I
Exactly.
mean, you would shut it down.
Yeah, they don't care who they're trying to jump. They're just trying to jump everyone and eventually get to the champion, whoever that may be. But they're not going to try and help someone become champ before they become. Yeah, exactly. So, and like you say, if they jump Charlotte in the ring, then Carmella gets in to try and cash in. Why wouldn't they jump Carmella as well? You know, it's just one of those where there's no opportunity. But they teased it, but I never really believed it was coming, especially because they teased it. You know, they never tease a cash in and then it happened. It's always supposed, you know, it's always quite a surprise. But the right person won. Natalya's bit at the end was strange because
It felt like she retired.
yeah, it also kind of felt like at first before it started to feel like she was retiring, it felt like she was trying to turn heel, and I think I even put in the group, does Natalya not already know she's heel?
No,
Like,
you're right, too. Like, what the fuck?
I was like, why is she turning heel? She's already a heel. I was really confused. I was like, I don't know what's happening here. And then I was like, if that was a retirement, then screw whoever wrote her retirement, because she deserved a bit more than that. You know, like,
Yeah,
so I don't think
seriously.
she's retiring. I think she's going to disappear for a bit, and I think she'll have another run. She might retire after that run, I don't know, but I think she'll have another run. I don't think that's the last we've seen of Natalia. That didn't feel like a send-off to me.
It was awkward, is what it was.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
really
man.
awkward. It was like I don't know what's happening here. Like I was like, I really don't know what's meant to be happening. I don't know what I'm meant to be feeling here. Am I meant to be feeling angry at her because she was giving the crowd abuse? Am I meant to be feeling sorry for her because she's gutted she lost and she's thinking about quitting? Like, what am I even meant to be feeling? You know, it was such a weird thing. It was like, if I was buying into this completely, would I know what to feel? You know, and I was just like, no, probably not. I was really baffled. But I'll come back to the scoring on this match in terms of who got what right because of cash-in stipulations and stuff, because it'll get interesting when we get to the end. But we'll say for now, me and Moses definitely got it right because we called Charlotte leaving, and Daniel, you did get the right match result, but we'll see what difference it makes in a minute. The fact that you picked Carmella, but now we had the breather match, which went as everyone on the planet expected. We had the Bludgeon Brothers, didn't we, against Breezango?
It was what it
Gem of a match.
Man, I had my house on Breezango, guys. I've got to tell you, like, how did they not win? Like, the underdogs really picked up the win in this one, didn't they? Bludgeon Brothers, like, I mean, like, who honestly thought Breezango were gonna win that match? You know, like, we all picked Bludgeon Brothers. Brian picked Bludgeon Brothers. Breezango picked Bludgeon Brothers. The 8-year-olds on the front row picked the Bludgeon Brothers. Like,
I will say this, it would have been nice if one of Breezango screamed, because that was funny.
Yeah,
as
really,
a bit of
though.
a reference, that would have been great. Yeah, I would have liked that. Yeah. But there's not a lot to talk about in that. They got a tiny bit of offense in, but it was essentially a squash match.
Yeah.
The Bludgeon Brothers are kind of fun, like, but I mean, until they start getting the teeth into something meaningful, it's just going to be like, you know, it's fun to watch their offense. It looks kind of brutal, but I'm not really. I can't really get invested in them because they're not doing anything.
Well, I think this is where they're going to start. They started with Breezango, they got done with the jobbers, and then now they're probably going to move to somebody like, I'm going to say, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're probably going to fall victim to them, and then, you know, probably go on to Rusev and Aiden English, then eventually take on the New Day. And I'm thinking possibly by the Royal Rumble. I don't know if they're going to have every title on the line at the Royal Rumble, but if they do, I see the Bludgeon Brothers against the Usos.
See, I don't know if it's going to be that soon. I just think that's. I think they should have a program with each of those teams, not just like a match. You know, do you know what I mean? I think they should feud up to
I get
Rumble
what you
with the
mean.
next in line, and then they should feud up to Elimination Chamber. And I mean, can I just point out, by the way? Let me count these. Aside from the big main event tag match, there was Breezango, Bludgeon Brothers, Usos, Aiden English and Rusev, Shelton Benjamin and Chad Gable, and the New Day. They're already setting up for another tag team Elimination Chamber match. Elimination Chamber's Raw, isn't it? Never mind. No, they're not. Never mind. Scrap that.
I think the next SmackDown pay-per-view, I think, is Roadblock.
Yeah, it's one of those stupid.
Is it really?
WrestleMania
Just
ones,
Roadblock?
isn't it? Yeah. They've got Royal Rumble. They've only got Royal Rumble and one other show before WrestleMania now.
Because
right.
they flip-flop each year. So,
Yeah.
like, what SmackDown got this year, Raw gets next year, and vice versa.
Yeah, but so I feel like they're trying to build up this. We might get a multi-team match at WrestleMania. I think for the tag titles again, because it seems like they're sort of trying to make a point of showcasing everyone who's in a tag team at the moment, which to me just screams big build up to big multi-man match. You know, I know they've just had a multi-man tag title match, but it'll be a different one. It'll be a triple threat with two of the teams from the four-way and one of maybe the Bludgeon Brothers, or, you know, something like that. But I feel like they're going to try and showcase quite a few teams.
And, you know, I've really been a fan of Harper and Rowan for a long time.
Oh, man, especially Luke Harper. Luke Harper, or Harper as he's now being known, because WWE love budget cuts and taking away people's names.
And, just the first names, mind you.
Yeah, Luke
I will say
Harper
that.
is so good. I mean, Rowan's good. Don't get me wrong, but Luke Harper is so good.
Luke Harper honestly could be a WWE champion.
Yeah, he could.
I don't know why
Absolutely
he
could.
isn't.
And
He
you know
was
what?
he was such a hot name on the. He was such a good wrestler on the Indies when he didn't have to play the big man role.
Yeah.
He can just go out there and wrestle. Now he has to wrestle like a big man.
Yeah, I mean,
Behind
when we saw
the
him
scenes.
have the IC title and he was feuding with Ziggler and stuff, he wasn't really wrestling like a big man. He just went out and had a match, and it was great. It was
And,
so
Oh,
good.
they were great.
People don't realize, like, behind the scenes, like, and this is what made me like him even more. I went to a house show, and Luke Harper actually lives like an hour and a half away from me. So he
Yeah.
had his wife and son at the venue at the house show, and he had his little boy come in the ring with him after the match.
Wow.
And I thought that was really cool. And,
Yeah,
that made
but,
me
I
respect.
mean,
Well, yeah, anytime you show a sensitive side.
do you know what? Do you know what else is what just struck me then as you were telling that story about Luke Harper? Is he's so good at portraying his gimmick? I was a little bit genuinely shocked to learn he had a wife and child and doesn't live in a hut on his own. Because he lives especially when he was in the Wyatt family and he always had his dirty vest on
he
and stuff.
definitely looked like he
He
lived
was
for sure.
so good at that you sort of get lost in it a little bit, which is rare these days. Where then you say, "Oh yeah, his wife and kid were there." I was like, as if he's married. He's never spoken to a human being in his life. You know.
Well, like, I love that, like, a lot of these guys, like, with WWE and their social media policy, they take their, like, Eric Rowan, for example, barely posts anything on Twitter, and when he does, it's weird.
Yeah. Luke Harper's Twitter, though, is the best place on the internet. It's so
Ambrose.
good.
Ambrose, just as a side, posted on Twitter once, he said, "They made me get a Twitter, so here it is."
Yep, he's never been verified because he's never used it. Yeah, his Twitter account isn't verified because he doesn't use it, so it's never needed to be in Twitter's eyes.
Yeah, he
That
doesn't
totally sounds like a Dean Ambrose move.
But Luke Harper's, have you guys followed Luke Harper? Luke Harper, every day, I went back through his timeline because I was like, there's no way he's done this every day. Every day for, like, I think it's about a year and a half now, has tweeted, "It's Monday, you know what that means, ... It's Tuesday, you know what that means, ... No answer ever to what it means. He's just tweeted it every day, and it's, I genuinely, I went back, I was looking at the dates of each tweet. He's never missed a day in a year and a half. And I know there's things you can use to automate tweets, but if he's done it in advance a year and a half's worth, then still credit to him. He's done whatever he's done, whether he's just got a really good memory and remembers, "Oh, I've got to tweet that today." I don't know why he does it. I don't know what the end game is. I don't know if there's an end game or if the end game is to make people think there's an end game and then there won't be and it's all a big troll. I don't know, but I think it's brilliant. I'm just like, it's so good. It's
I
just
think he's just, like, screwing with people.
yeah, exactly, and it's brilliant. But it suits his character so well. It's just like, oh, it's just this weirdo that just tells you what day it is for some reason. Like, that's what he uses Twitter for, to tell people what day it is. Fair enough, And I just think he's brilliant.
And with him, and this is what got me, when they split Bray and Randy Orton, and that whole thing, I honestly thought Bray Wyatt should have beaten Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and they should have done a Luke Harper versus Bray Wyatt feud for the title, and I think Luke Harper should have been the one to take it off Bray Wyatt.
Yeah, I mean, or
Definitely would have been fresh and attention grabbing, that's for sure.
he could have taken it off Orton instead of Jinder, because they had an amazing match on SmackDown, if you remember, leading up to WrestleMania. Luke Harper and Randy Orton before WrestleMania on SmackDown, it was so good. It was like, it was a really good match, and I was like, I'd like to see that again for the title. Would not mind that at all. And we all know if you give him the right person, Orton doesn't mind putting people over. He quite likes the challenge of getting someone over. He said it himself in interviews. He enjoyed, you could tell at times, he was enjoying the challenge of trying to get Jinder over when he was first working with him. He was like...
He couldn't.
But he enjoyed the challenge. You don't always have to succeed to enjoy the challenge.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look at his matches, Look at when he had Cody Rhodes and Ted DiBiase working with him. He got that work.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, so Luke Harper should be much bigger places than he is now. So that's my thing against the Bludgeon Brothers. But seeing as he's not in a bigger place, I'm glad he's got a place, which is at the moment back with Eric Rowan for what, the third time they've reunited now. So
yeah, something like that.
yeah, but you know they can eventually build a story out of that where these two always cross paths. Just think, if Luke Harper ever does win the WWE title, first challenger should be Eric Rowan, because it'd be like, hey, I'm here again, but this time I'm here to fight you, you know, kind of thing. It'd just be perfect, wouldn't it, if the paths intertwined again? Imagine if it's like 5 years down the line and they're still both there and they've crossed paths, they've come together and gone apart like a dozen times, and then it's like Luke Harper wins the title, and then you know, he comes out on his first show after winning the title, and Eric Rowan just comes out and stares at him. You'd just be like, alright, that's cool. You know, make it for a pay-per-view. That's not a WrestleMania main event, don't get me wrong, but it'd be cool. You know.
Oh yeah, it would. You know, that's like a Backlash main event.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Anyway, speaking of main events, the first main event, this match was good. However, until we see SmackDown, we can't really decide. I don't think we can really say what they were going for, and therefore whether they got it or not, because it was a bit of an ambiguous ending. But it's the tag match, obviously. Owens and Zayn against Orton and Nakamura. We all picked Owens and Zayn to win. They telegraphed it. I mean, they could have done something interesting with them getting fired and somehow getting back in, but by making that stipulation, they kind of telegraphed the ending, and then by adding Daniel Bryan into the match, they kind of telegraphed it all. But at the same time, it's still a really enjoyable match. Even despite all the referee shenanigans, it was fun. By the way, did either of you watch Daniel Bryanson when he was in Ring of Honor? Like, did you watch Ring of Honor when he was there?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it.
Did anyone catch when Daniel Bryan told Kevin Owens, "You have till 5"? Because I marked out so hard for that, because that was a thing you did in Ring of Honor. He used to hold a submission when they got the rope, his opponent got the ropes, and the referee would count till 4, and then he'd let go, and the referee would berate him, and he'd just get in his face and go, "I have till 5," and it was brilliant. and when he said that to Kevin Owens, I was like, that was on purpose. You know what Daniel Bryan's like, and that was deliberate.
Yeah.
That was brilliant. I was like, oh, I marked out so hard for such a minor thing there.
But it was so great. It was like the most subtle thing, and if you were like a real Ring of Honor fan, you knew it.
Yeah, he
did
that
hilarious.
for his hardcore fans of like, you know, a couple of decades now or whatever, and not expecting 90% of the audience to get it. You know, he just knew a few people would mark out of that, and I was like, that was great. I was so happy with that. But anyway, the match overall was fun. I really enjoyed the main event. The semi-main event, the tag match, I should say.
Yeah, I thought quality-wise, I thought it was a very solid match. The only issue I have was after the shenanigans at the end, I thought, they missed a perfect opportunity for Randy Orton to drop Shane McMahon with the RKO. I thought it was the perfect opportunity.
Out of frustration, kind of. Yeah.
Just, drop him with an RKO and just leave. I thought that would have been perfect.
What do you think, Moses? What was your overall thoughts?
I was hoping somebody would turn. I mean,
I think somebody did turn. I just think it was the start of a slow turn. But go on, carry on. Yeah.
And that's where I'm getting at too. Like, and I think I made a comment about it online. Like, I think this is the slow part to making the Daniel Bryan heel turn. Like,
okay.
Yeah, he did this. I'm sure he's gonna have some explanation that's gonna make him sound like it's all good, but in reality, we still know what it really is. I think that's what's gonna happen on Tuesday. I think he's gonna come up with an excuse. Well, you tried to screw him, and I'm not gonna let you screw over great talent or some nonsense. For the good of the show, best for business.
What about you, Daniel? Who turned or who showed signs of turning, or however you want to word it?
I think they kind of both did. It's Shane. It's kind of you talk about nod to Ring of Honor. If you recall, Survivor Series, the one when The Rock turned heel and became the corporate champ.
Yeah.
Shane was the referee, and he did that 1-2, and he kind of pulled his hand up and looked directly at the guy. I think it was Mick Foley.
I did. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did.
The only thing he didn't do last night was he didn't flip off Sami. I think it was Sami Zayn. It's the only thing he didn't do.
Okay, so you think Shane and Daniel Bryan both showed signs of potentially turning?
They both did, but I think
For me, Shane turned. Shane absolutely turned. Right. Here's forget names. Here's a description of what happened last night. Two guys were forced by their boss, because they didn't agree with all the decisions he was making, to fight for their careers against two of the top guys on the show who were doing the boss's dirty work, right? And then the other boss was like, hang on, and then the boss was like, I'm going to be a special referee as well. And the other boss was like, hang on, we know you don't like him, that's not fair, I'm going to be a referee, okay? And then the boss who made the match, at the end of the match, when the guys fighting for their jobs have the other guy rolled up for 3 seconds, refuses to count for them. Yeah, refuses to count the 3. And then, because he's annoyed at the other boss cheating, we get a fast count from the second referee. Who's face and who's heel in that? To me, the person who dishes out justice is a face. The person who tries to cheat someone out of a fair victory is a heel. And the person who gets cheated out of a fair victory is a face. So to me, we didn't see Daniel Bryan turn heel. We saw a triple turn where we saw Shane turn heel and Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn by proxy turned face, because they're not suddenly going to get along with Shane. So by proxy, they turned face. Now, I don't think Orton and Shinsuke, by being there, turned heel with Shane, because they didn't exactly pal up with Shane after the match. They just stood there looking a bit confused as well. You know, so I think Orton might, or Shinsuke might even have a problem with what Shane did. They should be like, hang on, they had us beat fair and square. What are you doing? You know, like, I don't like what they did at Survivor Series either, but they had us beat. Why didn't you count? You know what I mean? I think Shane turned, and so did, just by default, so did Sami and Kevin. And if that's
I can totally see that Shane turned, because he was... Like, early in the show, him and Daniel he had said, you have a grudge, you have, a grudge against these guys, and you're a hothead. He acted like a fucking hothead through the whole match. He was legit trying to screw them out.
He was not being partial. Go on.
When Daniel was counting the pin on Nakamura, because, he was getting Kevin in the triangle, but Nakamura's shoulders were down, he flipped out on him. It's like, dude... That's a cut. That's a pin.
And Brian was like, his shoulders are down. And he was like, yeah, but what are you doing? He was like, his shoulders are down. And Brian was there. I loved that bit, by the way, because Daniel was just almost condescending. He was like, Shane, his shoulders are down. Do you know what that means? His shoulders are down. You know what you do when you're wearing a stripy shirt and someone's shoulders are down? Do you know what you do?
Yeah, you fucking get down on the ground and start tapping.
It was great. Daniel Bryan was the sort of low-key star of that match. He was great. Some of his mannerisms and the little things he did were so good.
I love his rule book. He's like, hey, that's illegal. That was awesome.
Oh, the bit at the start of the match, I think I posted in the group, Daniel Bryan just explained to 4 men with 50 plus years combined wrestling experience that tag matches need 1 man in the ring and 1 man on the apron. He was like, 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out, and he went to the other side and did the same thing with his fingers, 1 in, 1 out, 1 in, 1 out, and I was like, oh my god, is he really explaining to these 4 men how
I'm surprised he didn't bring up the tag rope.
Yeah, really though.
He was being so pedantic with things. He really should have, shouldn't he? But it was just really funny. It was like, do you realise how many years these men have been wrestling for combined? Why are you telling them that one of them needs to be on the apron? They know that. They're just squaring up. They're just acting the big man. They're not confused. They don't think it's a tornado tag, Daniel. It was just really funny. I just thought Brian was great. One thing I want to address. Okay, softest bump ever, but Daniel Bryan took a scheduled bump that was a spot in a match.
It's the softest bump ever. He landed on Shane.
Yes,
you really can't say that's gonna. I mean,
no, I'm not. I just want to open up the conversation. I just want to open up the conversation. I'm not saying, oh my god, Daniel Bryan fell over in a match, therefore he's going to main event WrestleMania. I'm not doing that. What I'm saying is, there is no need for that bump in that match to tell the story of the match. That was added in for effect and wasn't needed. And let's face it, no matter who's doing it and how soft of a bump it is, if he had his back to Shane and he got pushed, if he got pushed at a slight wrong angle, he could have banged his head off the mat. I'm not, I'm not being overly dramatic. I'm not saying there was a big chance of that happening. There's a lot of professionals in the ring, they know what they're doing. But if there's the slightest chance, they wouldn't let anything happen with the slightest chance. So it's one of those things to me where I think it's And why else are they having this story between Shane and Daniel Bryan unless it's going to get physical? Because we all know the most frustrating thing in wrestling is a storyline between someone and someone who can't get physical, can't ever have a match as the payoff. What's the point? There's no point. It's wrestling. The whole point is you build to a fight. What are they building to if it's not to a fight?
I don't know, but it stirred up feelings, man.
Oh yeah, and
Stirred up
the
feelings.
other thing to look at as well is WWE aren't stupid. They might be worried about their lawsuits they've got about concussions and the public image and stuff like that about letting him wrestle, but he's said on so many public records, look, when my contract runs out, I'm just going to leave and go and wrestle somewhere else. I've been cleared by every doctor imaginable. There was a misunderstanding about the original reason I wasn't cleared. So I'm not unhealthy. I'm actually more healthy than most of the guys in the locker room in terms of how my brain looks under a scan. I'm going to go and wrestle again. Vince McMahon's not going to leave money on the table. And Daniel Bryan is almost the walking embodiment of money at the moment to WWE.
Oh no, he freaking is. Give him one shot to get back in the ring. Let him put his tights on one more time, imagine the sales of his shirts alone.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. It's
there are rumors that he has been cleared.
Yeah, I mean those rumors.
So
I've heard those rumors for months.
Yeah, they circulate, and and then they get sort of. Someone else starts the rumor that the rumor is just a rumor, and then it starts again, and then someone poo-poos it, and then it starts again, but it's just one of those where it's like no one really knows, but all the signs that we can see on television are pointing towards a very, very slow hint at maybe they've not fully cleared him yet, but they are setting up for just in case they do. That's what I'm seeing.
Remember, about 2 years ago, it was right around the time when, with AJ Styles, when people are saying, oh, he's going to, rumor has it, he's going to the WWE.
Yeah.
Rumor has it. And you know what? Then there were rumors that said, no, he's re-signed with New Japan. Oh, he's re-signed with TNA. And we didn't really know. Remember, there was that period where, you didn't really know what was going on. And then Royal Rumble, and bam, music he debuted.
Yeah, but to be fair, you can't just say, oh yeah, but look at this time, rumours were true, because I also heard a rumour, going around quite a bit, actually. I saw it in a few different places a few weeks ago, that the reason we hadn't seen Dolph Ziggler on TV before he got into this triple threat match was because his contract had already expired and he'd left. And now he's US champion a month later, so it's just one of those where, rumours, you've got a 50-50 chance. You either believe them or you don't. Each rumour, you're just I believe this or I don't. And you're going to be right half the time, wrong half the time. It's just how it is. But the thing is, I would say what we're seeing. The other thing, right, they had a spot on Raw just before the Survivor Series on the hashtag Under Siege episode, or the one after, where they implied that Kane had chokeslammed Daniel Bryan. Now, they didn't show it, but again, that's do you see what I mean about that sort of they implied there was violence towards him. Now at Clash of Champions, there's been very, very minor violence towards him. There's been a very, very minor bump. And it's are they very slowly, month by month, just getting him a little bit more involved physically in the stories until the point where he's right, now at WrestleMania, I'm going to fight this person. It's just one of those where you're just sort of waiting for that next step where it's just a tiny bit more of a hint of they're doing something with him. That's what they seem to be getting at. It seems like hints to me. Why neither of those spots were necessary is what I would say.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. I mean, to add this subtle thing, there's nothing but talks about Daniel leaving, going to CMLL or Ring of Honor or New Japan or anywhere at this fucking point. I'm sure he'll go to Impact if it meant he could actually wrestle.
Literally anywhere he can wrestle, yeah.
I mean, if they're smart, they'll allow him to wrestle. And I'm thinking, you could do something stupid. You can legit, and this would piss the world off, but make it that much better come WrestleMania. You can have him be in the Rumble, okay? And then just I want to say, was it 2012 or 13, where he was heavily favored to win?
Yeah.
And then he got eliminated and everybody was disappointed. he could easily get in and then be eliminated by somebody that they trust, like Kane or something. And the worst bump he's going to take is, onto the floor.
Yeah.
You tease him there, and then, again, him versus Kane, again, somebody that they can really trust to take care of him, and have like a little WrestleMania match, give him 7 minutes.
I mean, you want heat, whoever you're going to have do that, I've got an even better idea. Don't let him get in the Rumble. Book him in the Rumble, make a huge deal out of it. His music hits, he comes down, he's like stood at the top of the ramp, soaking it all in, and someone just jumps him. And he doesn't get in the Rumble. That is nuclear heat.
That's nuclear.
For that person, they're going to need to leave that arena early that night.
Or
the fans on the outside.
That's perfect. So who can handle that nuclear heat?
The first person that comes to mind that I still want to see against Daniel Bryan is Miz. I want to see that because their feud, their promos on Talking Smack, and their feud that happened on SmackDown was amazing. The match isn't the best match you can possibly get out of Daniel Bryan.
I'm not worried about. And this is, I think this is my issue because, like I said, I know how Daniel wrestled when he was in Ring of Honor. He went all out and then some. That's his downfall. Yeah. I want him to be safe doing this. My issue is The Miz somebody who can wrestle that's safe for him to, I hope, put him through the rigmarole, if you will, for lack of better words, before he goes and starts giving his all, in Ring of Honor, in CMLL, because...
I mean, I get that point of view, but I would just counter that simply by asking you to make me a list of people that Miz is legit hurt in the ring. Miz is good.
Yeah,
he's not spectacular, but he's good.
No, he is good, and this is definitely, it's a feud worth seeing. It was nuclear heat for a while.
But the Miz also has the perks of, I can't think of anyone that the Miz has hurt. The Miz is safe for himself and for his opponent.
If you guys remember, a couple years ago, he had that god-awful match with Bret Hart on Monday Night Raw in Montreal for the U.S. title.
Yeah.
And you know what? We all know the shape Bret was in.
Bret Hart had a stroke. Like, let's put it all on the table. Bret Hart had a stroke at this point.
He did. And I'm not faulting Bret. I'm just saying.
No.
Miz was able to take care of Bret, was able to guide him through that match.
Exactly. That's the point I was getting at, is if they trust the Miz to have a match with a 50-odd-year-old man who's had a stroke, I think there's a fair chance they would trust him with Daniel Bryan, and he would be trustworthy with Daniel Bryan. Yeah.
And and
the feud would be gold. That's like a bonus. That's
it would be, yeah.
I think there is some legitimate, not some necessarily heat between the two, but I think there's some animosity. It's like they don't hate each other. It's just kind of that guy's a dick. I don't like that guy. That kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
absolutely. It's one of those where it's hard. It's hard to read the blurred lines sometimes, like, they're both such good performers, they could just be working all of us, they very believably could love each other to bits behind the scenes and not have anything bad to say about the other one, but because they know how gold they are against each other, and Daniel Bryan's definitely, the sort of person who would kayfabe the fans, for a good story. And I don't feel like it'd be hard to convince The Miz to do it either. He loves wrestling. Let's be honest, everyone was going, he's just a reality TV show guy, but he's also the guy who was, 5 when he decided he wanted to be a wrestler. He's also a lifelong wrestling fan. He's a huge wrestling fan, and he's not gonna just let stuff slip too easily. It took, how many years did it take for people to realize and for it to come out that him and Ziggler were actually friends? They were fighting all the time, and no one had twigged that they were mates. Yeah, no one had twigged that they were mates.
Nobody really took The Miz seriously until his feud with John Cena.
Yeah, exactly.
And then he just became the most annoying heel there was, which was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. He was a legit heel. No one liked him.
Yeah, it was perfect.
Yeah, exactly. But oh wow, we got a bit off track. But yeah, like I say, I feel like this is all building to something. I genuinely hope it's a match. Like, that's all I can say. There's a bigger picture in play here. You can see that there's a bigger picture because, without meaning to sound too derogatory, nothing much is happening. Which usually means there's a bigger picture. They're not pushing things. They're not throwing pieces of the puzzle together willy-nilly. They're taking the time. They're biding the time. You know, it's the same as, like, these are the sort of things that they'll show in the video package building up to a match at WrestleMania. It's like, oh yeah, that happened. I didn't even notice that. I mean, not to compare the feuds, but the one that I always think of when I think WWE do know what they're doing with terms of long-term planning, I know it's a long time ago, but it's still the same guy at the helm at the end of the day, is the Mega Powers imploding. They showed footage, you know, of certain ways that Hogan and Elizabeth had looked at each other, and then Macho looked at Hogan. But because they were good at the time, no one noticed it, but they got those shots in so they could show it in the video package. And they did it on purpose. They did it all on purpose. And you think, they know what they're doing when they lay the groundwork for a long feud. You know, there's everything to say they could do it. Especially if they know they're just basically building to one match. They know Daniel Bryan is going to have one match. And this is the match we want him to have. And let's face it, I want him to face The Miz. But at the moment, the direction seems to be Shane. Which I'm not a fan of. But let's just say that seems to be where they're going. Unless they take a real left turn. Unless Shane somehow recruits The Miz to fight his battle for him. You know, or something like that. It seems to be Shane. But they're having these little... And they're getting more and more significant now, but I guarantee they'll show clips from, like, July where they looked at each other funny when one said something, and we'll be like, we never noticed that, because that's what they do. They're experts at production. That's what WWE are really good at, as a general rule, is producing a TV program.
What they could always do, you know, if they end up doing that and they want Daniel Bryan to play the face, which, you know, obviously I think they do.
Well, he's going to get cheered no matter what, so you might as well.
If you want to get Shane over as a heel, you could just, you know, you could have Stephanie make a couple appearances on SmackDown. Yeah. You know, have Shane say, you know, well, maybe my sister was right. Maybe you really are just a B+ player.
Yeah,
and
you just Stephanie, say, you know, Stephanie is the biggest heat magnet that's ever existed in wrestling.
Yeah, he could just say, you know, well, you couldn't cut it as WWE champion.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not hard to turn Shane heel in this scenario. I think he's already gone. I think on SmackDown it was very telling, but I think Shane's already turned at this point because he's now making unfair decisions against his own talent. That is heel authority figure. That's all you can say.
And you know what?
Authority figures don't make unfair decisions. They punish the bad guys for cheating. They don't punish the bad guys for winning a match clean.
Yeah.
You know, that's the thing. Anyway, we still have another main event to crack on with. And I'm going to throw this out there. This was probably a lot better than most people were expecting. And I thought it was a pretty damn good match. I'm not going to lie. AJ versus Jinder for the WWE title. I enjoyed this. Maybe not as much, or was it in the same way as the match before, but I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I really did.
I mean, this was like I don't know if this was AJ being really good or is Jinder getting that next step, but I mean, it felt like Jinder was getting that next step. He's finally found somebody he could work with who can help him shine, who can help him learn and get better. He's not just this big Indian guy that, you know, Vince liked because he came back looking good with a nice body. He's slowly becoming a better wrestler. And 2 good matches against AJ Styles. It speaks volumes. It really does. So I think Jinder took that next step, and yeah, this was a really good match. I even thought this was probably like the match of the night.
Yeah, and much as people don't like to admit it, AJ can't actually have a good match with just anyone. AJ's had a couple of bum matches since he's been in WWE. Yeah, exactly. You know, so and not against people you'd have expected it against. You know, so you know it's not necessarily they put him in there with a broom handle. What do you expect? You know, it's just sometimes you don't click with someone and it's not a great match. But he's had good matches out of Jinder, so it's not like AJ can have a good match with absolutely anyone. It does take a partner. You know, so I mean, what do you think, Daniel? Did you enjoy this match more than you thought you would, or less, or what?
You know, I thought it was better than what it was. You know, I wasn't expecting a lot. You know, I think Jinder is showing promise. I think he has a lot of potential. He still has a lot of work to do. but I think he's getting there. I think the match he had with Triple H in India, which from all reports was a good match. I think he's learning.
I think that match had a big influence on this match as well. I think the fact, because obviously Triple H is going to ride the PR bandwagon a little bit, but it sounds to me from what Triple H said and from other reports, like Jinder got a bit of a reaction when he came out, but maybe not what they would like from their top Indian guy in India. But by the end of the match, he got a really good reaction, and I think that experience alone might have boosted his confidence enough to be like, you know what, I can wrestle. I'm going to go and wrestle. Do you know what I mean? And he just seemed more confident in what he was doing. He didn't seem like, when he was in control of the match, like quite as lost as he has done sometimes. You know,
yeah,
like,
he did go in there.
What he's doing.
Yeah, I felt the same way. Like all of a sudden, he caught a groove or something. He was having a good night. But yeah, I think the match with Triple H did him wonders. I mean, who better to learn from than was he a 14-time champion?
Yeah.
Oh, that too. You know what I mean? Like you're talking about the guy who's probably like the biggest heel in the company. Yeah. He's not even a fucking full-time wrestler.
Yeah, you're talking about. He's got to be in most people, unless they're absolute blind haters, because I know he has a lot of those. But unless you're a blind hater, Triple H has to be in your top 5 heels of all time.
Oh yeah,
easily top 5.
You know what I mean? Like if not higher, if not considerably higher.
He could easily crack a top 3.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, you could make a convincing argument for top of all time. To be honest, but there's a good argument for other people as well. But he's in there. He's in that argument, and so who better to learn from? How am I going to be a main event bad guy? Triple H puts his arm around him and says, "Let me teach you." Like who better? It's one of those, isn't it? It's anyway. I just want to gloat for a second because I think this is my only opportunity over both of you. I picked AJ. Mosey, you picked Jinder, but by DQ, so you did pick the correct champion coming out of this, but. I'm not letting you have that. You picked the wrong winner. Daniel, you thought Jinder was getting the title back, so
it seemed too obvious.
Yeah, I know what you mean. WWE likes to swerve for the sake of swerves. I do understand that thinking, but I think, without being as obvious about it, I think AJ Shinsuke is already a lock for Mania. Like,
oh yeah.
I think that's been a lock for quite a while. They hinted at it in Money in the Bank, and I wouldn't be surprised if they'd already decided at that point that was where they were going. Because
I think that would be the quote-unquote best for business idea. My only issue is, who are you going to have going as heel? Are you going to have Nakamura turn heel? Or are you going to have AJ go back to his heel days?
No, I wouldn't do either. I would have Shinsuke win the Rumble. You don't get to choose which brand you're challenging, so you just have him come down to the ring and stand and stare at AJ like, well, this is it, and the crowd will just go mental. You saw what they did at Money in the Bank. All they did was move the ladder to the side, and the crowd went insane. Like, they just have to go and look at each other. No one has to turn heel. There doesn't have to be any animosity. It's just a professional. Who's the best rivalry? And also this is a lock for best match of the night. Everyone's going to want to watch that match because they know that's going to be the best match of the night. It doesn't matter what you put on that card. It's probably not going to beat AJ Shinsuke. So just let him go. Both be face. No one, AJ will probably work as the heel in the match because he's got a lot more recent experience working as a heel, and he has experience working as a heel in WWE style. So I think when the match comes down to it, when you have to have, someone kicking the face around for 2 minutes so they can make the comeback, that'll be AJ kicking Shinsuke around. But yeah. Go as an overall, I don't think there's going to be a face or a heel. I think there's just going to be two guys that we really want to see fight.
Oh wow, we actually get what we want sometimes. Holy crap!
I'm hoping this is
he throws bones every now and then. They say, okay, guys, you want it? Okay, here.
Yeah, the one. What is it? The one bone a year.
Yeah,
sometimes.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess.
Yeah, the Daniel Bryan at WrestleMania 30 bone. Yeah.
I mean, look at like you mentioned WrestleMania 30. And even Triple H earlier, remember the match he and Daniel Bryan had? That was surprisingly a good match.
I wasn't even surprised, but I wasn't surprised it was a good match. I was surprised at how good a match it was because all I was hearing after WrestleMania 30, as well as obviously how big of a thing it was about, how good the main event was, not how good the main event was, but how good the moment was at the main event. the other thing I was hearing coming out of it was that match was arguably, and the only one that you could really argue against it was Brett versus Owen, the best opening match on any WrestleMania in history.
Oh yeah, I would say.
You know, like that was one of the big conversations coming out of it. Was that the best opening match to a Mania ever? You know, and people were saying, "Oh well, Brett Owen," but there was a genuine debate about which was better. If you're being compared to that Brett Owen WrestleMania 10 match, I think it was, wasn't it? It was a good match. If you're being compared to that, it was a damn good match.
Yeah, you're in amazing company.
Yeah, exactly. But let's get back to Clash of Champions. We like WrestleMania on this podcast. You tell, guys.
Well, we're a bunch of guys that look forward. What can we say?
Yeah, exactly. But Brian picked AJ, so me and Brian got that one right. And you two didn't. But overall, I mean, this is a little bit awkward actually, because this is a SmackDown pay-per-view. And Moses, I'm afraid you came fourth. with
God, I knew it was either going to be the top or the bottom.
But the thing is, it's like a curse coming on this podcast to represent your own show that you're an expert in, because last month Brian came on and we merged Ring Psychology and WNXT, and we did the War Games predictions, and Brian lost the War Games predictions on his own show. He's the NXT guy and he lost, so it's a curse.
I just read it is a curse.
Yeah, you've got to lose your own show. So you got 4. You got Mojo, Bludgeon Brothers, Owens and Zayn, and Charlotte winning. Right, and then the others you maybe struggled a little bit more to predict correctly, shall we say. Then in joint second place is Brian, who got Mojo, Bludgeon Brothers, Owens and Zayn, the Usos, and AJ winning, right? And me, because I got Mojo, Bludgeon Brothers, Zayn and Owens, Charlotte and AJ, so almost the same. I just got the women's match and he got the tag match. But the winner with debatably 5.5 or 6 points, depending on how we count the Carmella situation, whether he gets half a point for predicting Charlotte or a whole point for predicting Charlotte, and we don't punish him for predicting the cash-in. It's Daniel, you got the Mojo match, the Bludgeon Brothers match, which, let's face it, everyone in the world got those right, so we can take 2 off everyone's score in theory, because that was an unfair guess, but still, you got them right. Ziggler, Owens and Zayn, the Usos, and you also correctly predicted Charlotte to win the match before the cash-in, so I had to give you some sort of point for that. So, the winner!
In retrospect, I think that cash-in last night would have been too obvious. I think when it happens, we're not going to see it coming.
Having someone holding a briefcase designated at ringside, like, for a title match is mighty suspicious, isn't it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, you're trying to make us think this now, aren't you?
It's not. It's whenever they do it, it's not going to top the Rollins cash-in.
Oh, guys, I was there for that. I have honestly never been so excited by something that does not affect my life in the slightest in my life. Like the irrational amount of excitement I got for someone else getting a great deal of success was ridiculous. I was like, oh my god, this is going to happen. Like, I marked out so hard for that.
I mean, I marked out in front of a bunch of like casual wrestling fans, and they just gave me this weird look, and I didn't care because it was an amazing moment.
Yeah, you screamed at them for not appreciating how amazing it is, yeah. But
I did, I was like, you don't know what he's done to get here.
Yeah, we were just, his music hit. And that show, let me just finish by saying, that show, I went to 30 and 31. 30 was the better WrestleMania. 31 was the better one to be at. Because yes, you had the Daniel Bryan moment at Mania 30, and you had the shock of The Undertaker loss. But the number of times you jumped out of your seat and marked out at 31 was ridiculous. That Sting Triple H match that people that didn't go slated was so good live, because every time music hit, you were like, what's happening now? Like, everyone was just like getting so into it. And then you had the Rollins cash in, and you had the RKO out of this curb stomp. That spot was amazing live. And you just had all these moments where you just saw the entire arena lift. Because everyone jumped out the seat at exactly the same moment and looked the same way. It was so crazy, that show. And yeah, no one will ever beat that cash-in, because it was just... That was just, like... Let's face it, he saved that WrestleMania a bit, because, I mean, the main event wasn't bad, and people in the arena were starting to cheer for Reigns, from what I could hear. but it still needed something. Reigns winning would have been anticlimactic just because everyone knew he was winning. You know, kind of like WrestleMania 34 is going to be. It's going to be anticlimactic because everyone knows it's coming. Everyone's known it's coming for months. You know, that was the feeling in 31. It's like, well, do we even stay for the main event because we know how it finishes? You know, so that moment made everyone so glad they did. You know, because they were like, oh my god, no, I didn't know how it finished. You know, it was the greatest wrestling moment that I've seen personally.
No reaction is going to top when The Undertaker lost to Lesnar at Mania 30.
Oh, it was weird.
I legit thought it was a messed up finish.
Yeah, it was weird because so did everyone in the arena. Everyone went quiet.
And then, like, the bell didn't ring, and then no music hit. It was just, like, awkward. Like, they were like, okay, he lost. Let it all sink in for him. And that's exactly how it felt, and it was just weird.
The shocked Undertaker guy?
Yeah. My mate who I went to WrestleMania with knows him. Like, because he runs like a wrestling themed YouTube channel, and he sort of got into that community, and he ended up like chatting to this guy on Twitter. So he doesn't know him like personally. Like, he lives in a different country. He lives over here in England, and that guy's American. But he already knew him on Twitter before WrestleMania 30, and then this guy just obviously blew up because he got shown on the screen. Like, and it was crazy because it was like, oh my god, we kind of sort of know that guy. We know a meme. Oh my god. Like,
but I mean, his expression was legit everybody's expression.
Yeah, he just happened to be the one that went on the board, but literally anyone in the arena could have become that meme. Like, on that day, because everyone... But the thing was, people were getting annoyed, and, like, people I went with were kind of a bit annoyed about it afterwards, and I just kept going, yeah, but we were there when Undertaker lost his streak. I don't care if it was the right decision. We got to be there.
Yeah, we were there.
You know, I am okay with that decision because I was there. If I'd have watched on TV, I'd be outraged, but I was there.
Oh, that's why I was like, god damn
it. But yeah, so, I mean, yeah, but talking about moments to see, like, the greatest moment for me is Seth Rollins cash in. Like... I've just never seen a reaction like it. It was like I've never seen fans mark out and yet also seem incredibly relieved at the same time.
I'm sure we were all relieved in some way or another, whether you were a Rollins fan or not. You were just like, thank
I feel like
God.
we did the whole arena jump up at the same time. I feel like pretty much everyone watching at home jumped up, like physically jumped up as well when his music hit. Everyone was like, whoa, what? But wow. Well, it's been fun chatting to you guys. We're going to have to tap him here up to get all us on just a normal episode, and we'll just we'll pick a topic and we'll just yammer on about it for an hour and a half like we just have.
Oh, we totally can do that.
I think we could do that weekly.
I'm sure it'd be entertaining to a lot of people.
Absolutely. It'd be entertaining to us, and that's what matters. But yeah, right, so if you guys have enjoyed this, like, this is like the second podcast on the new brand spanking new YouTube channel, like the second episode, and so make sure you leave a like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and make sure you join our group, and then you can chat to all us lot about wrestling in general. Let's do some cheap plugs. Daniel, when or if do you have plans for your next Telling a podcast? Do you have any sort of...
So 2 will be up tomorrow evening, probably around 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
You kept that quiet. Wow. Okay, exciting stuff. Okay, and Moses, let us know when we can watch your various podcasts.
I'm normally coming at you every Wednesday with an episode of Smack Talk, and I try to do every Friday, if not after every big show for the Major League show, to give any updates on New Japan.
There you go. And every time we do Ring Psychology, I am 9 times out of 10, if not more, here with him here. So that's where you can find me on this network. So if you like any of us, make sure you subscribe. It'll all be going up onto this channel as far as I'm aware. The plan is to upload all the shows into one place so people can keep up with it, which I think will be awesome. Yeah, make sure you leave a like, comment, and Amir will let us know when he gets comments, and whoever you've given abuse to for getting a result wrong, then we'll respond to you. So yeah, all good. But yeah, thanks guys for joining in. I was like, oh no, I don't want to have to do this review on my own if Amir can't make it, and then I was like, let's hit up the guys who did predictions, and this was a lot more fun than doing it on my own, so thank you very much.
Hey man, anytime.
Yeah, we'll have to do it anytime. We'll have to do it every time. But yeah, okay, right, we'll wrap it up here. Thank you very much for dropping in, guys, and thanks for your time.
Anytime.
Hey, man.
Okay.